Nothing plays with our hearts quite like anime, specifically when a series pulls the metaphorical rug out from underneath all of our expectations and knowledge of the world and characters. Which anime series has the most striking, most unexpected shifts that no one saw coming? Well, we've got our picks for the top anime plot twist for you right here, and warning, there shall be spoilers ahead. But before we list some of the most striking, unexpected plot twists in anime, don't forget to subscribe to CBR and ring that bell to join our notification squad to stay up to date with all our new anime videos. Philosopher's Stones and Fathers. If you've watched Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood before, you know the critically acclaimed series follows brothers Edward and Alphonse Elric as they search to restore their bodies with the help of a Philosopher's Stone. After attempting to bring their mother back to life, Ed lost his leg and Al lost his entire body, leading Ed to sacrifice his arm to bring his soul back, bonding it to a suit of armor. In these incomplete bodies, Ed and Al hope that the ultimate alchemic power of the Philosopher's Stone, which can transmute without the limitations of equivalent exchange, will restore their bodies. And it can, but unfortunately, once the Elric brothers learn what goes into making a Philosopher's Stone, they know they can't use one. Upon digging into Dr. Marco's research, they find out that the secret ingredient to a Philosopher's Stone is human lives, souls sacrificed to give an alchemist limitless power. It's a twist that's as devastating for the Elrics as it is for us. We learn more about the scale of human lives that go into the high-level Philosopher's Stones when the Elric brothers' father, Van Hohenheim, is revealed to be a living Philosopher's Stone, a parting gift from the creature known as Father. Both the truth about the Philosopher's Stone and the fact that Hohenheim was a living, breathing Philosopher's Stone were striking revelations that threw fans for a wild loop. Goku's alien origins. American fans of Dragon Ball Z saw the series before the original Dragon Ball was brought over, so they might not have felt the effects of Z's paradigm shift that much of the Japanese audience did. For Americans, we've known Goku was an alien for quite some time, but in Japan, the first episode of Z aired just 1 week after the final episode of Dragon Ball, meaning Japan went from knowing Goku to be a strange, strong little kid to learning he was an alien the whole time, sent to Earth to destroy and conquer it. It was a heck of a plot twist to say the least, and it completely reimagined the series at the end of the Piccolo Jr. saga. Imagine what that must have been like. For the majority of Dragon Ball, Goku was this goofy little kid with a tail and super strength who learned martial arts from an old turtle hermit, and then all of a sudden he gets married, has a kid, and his long-lost brother shows up from space to tell him he's an alien who should have destroyed the planet by now. Kakarot. He must have been a major deal to everyone watching the last episode of Dragon Ball, but it definitely ended up working in the franchise's favor since Dragon Ball Z ended up being more popular than its predecessor. The Human-Titan Connection. Attack on Titan has its fair share of criticisms, most that are justified, but there's no denying the power the first season had. The action, gore, drama, and shock came at us like a hurricane. Most of the most powerful moments of this season was Eren's first Titan transformation, which shook the entire series world to its core. What made this moment so impactful were the events that led up to it. For the first few episodes of Attack on Titan, Eren was clearly meant to be our main protagonist, which is why it was so shocking to see him die so quickly and horribly at the hands, or should we say jaws, of a Titan. The moment shattered everything we knew about the plot up until that point, breaking our perception of the world. Then, amongst the scattered pieces of our expectations, the rug was pulled out from under us once more as we learned that Eren had survived and discovered an ability to turn into a Titan. This opened up a whole new world for Attack on Titan as we learned that other humans amongst the Survey Corps were actually Titans, blowing our minds even more as conspiracies and history of the Titans were unveiled. Though it's slowed down in its recent seasons, Attack on Titan perfectly subverted our expectations with this plot twist. Kamina's lights go out. Leading up to Episode 8, Gurren Lagann built itself up to be a relatively standard rebellion narrative with a post-apocalyptic mecha anime setting, the iron-willed Kamina serving as the main protagonist, the beacon of hope that lights the human revolution, fighting for freedom against the Spiral King and his Beastmen. However, after the series builds its premise and protagonist for 7 episodes, it immediately tears it down with Kamina's death. During their fight to take control of the mobile enemy fortress, Dai Ganzan, Kamina loses his life after giving the battle his all, causing the title of protagonist and leader to fall to Simon's shoulders. As we mentioned, the audience is led to believe that Kamina was going to be the courageous hero for the entirety of the series, but his death shattered that expectation. Playing with the rebellion narrative by taking away the leader of the revolution early in the story to show what the rest of the rebels did in his absence. Kamina's death was just plain devastating. We didn't see it coming at all, and it hit us as hard as it did with the characters in the show, who mourn the loss of their fearless leader in one of the most emotional points in the series, which is part of why we chose it as one of our top anime plot twists. The Life Fiber Agenda. After the success of Gurren Lagann, the creative team behind it would go on to form Studio Trigger, creating Kill La Kill as its inaugural series. Trigger approached Kill La Kill with as much subversion as Gurren Lagann was made with, and as such, there's a major plot twist that happens 2/3 through the series. The series follows Ryoko Matoi, a tough-willed girl who travels to Hinojai Academy to find out who killed her father. Up until the major shift, we were meant to see Satsuki Kyorin as the main antagonist of the series, but that all changed in episode 17 when she stabbed her mother, Ragyo Kyorin, in the back. Following this, we learn that Satsuki built Hanojo Academy to destroy her mother, an agent of alien parasites known as life fibers that want to consume humanity. With this revelation, the series changed entirely, shifting from an exaggerated satire of Battle School, the magical girl anime, into the fight for the world, where her former enemies teamed up to take on Ragyo and her army of life fibers. It was a creepy plot twist, to say the least, one that was hard to see coming since so much of the series' episode count was dedicated to Ryoku's battle with Satsuki and the Elite Four, but in the end, this twist was the perfect direction to go. Ledo learns the truth. Gargantia is like a combination of mecha anime and Waterworld, but with a huge devastating twist to it. The story follows Ensign Ledo, a mech pilot in the war between the Galactic Alliance and the Haidas, terrifying squid-like monsters. During a fierce battle, Ledo falls into a wormhole and finds himself on a flooded Earth, which was believed to have been destroyed and abandoned. But it turns out just to be one of the many things he discovers. With nowhere else to go, Ledo settles into a life on Earth, learning more about himself and the propaganda that the Galactic Alliance fed him. One of the biggest revelations that Ledo learns during his time on Earth has to do with the origins of the Haidas. All his life, Ledo has been told that the Haidas, which are known as whale squid on Earth, were heartless monsters that had to be destroyed at all costs, when in actuality, they were a form of humans that mutated and evolved themselves in order to survive in outer space as Earth became less and less inhabitable. These humans became known as evolvers and soon became hated by humans looking to colonize space, leading to the factions that Ledo knew at the beginning of the series. Upon learning that he'd been killing the descendants of evolved humans, Ledo was in complete shock, as were the viewers, since it shook us to our core. The Sybil system is people. Psychopaths is like an anime version of Minority Report, following a group of police officers that seek to stop criminals before they commit crimes. They do this with the help of the Sybil system, a nationwide law enforcement enterprise that scans civilian brain patterns to determine their crime coefficient, which states whether or not they have criminal or psychopathic tendencies. The main protagonist of the series is Akane Tsunemori, a new inspector with the Public Safety Bureau who's teamed up with Shinya Kogami, a former inspector whose crime coefficient went up after witnessing a horrific sight during a case. Because of this, he was assigned to be an enforcer, people with high crime coefficient levels that are used to track other criminals with their criminal minds. As the series unfolds, Akane learns a dark secret behind the Sybil system, the system that revolutionized Japan's law enforcement and is incorporated into nearly every aspect of its society. Rather than being a simple computer algorithm that scans brainwaves, the Sybil system is revealed to be made up of hundreds of human brains, the minds of logical, unscannable humans who can determine the criminal tendencies of others. Upon learning the truth, Akane is shocked and horrified as it tears apart everything she and the rest of the country knew about their law enforcement and safety. Samurai Flamenco's shift. Samurai Flamenco is a subversion of tokusatsu superhero shows like Kamen Rider, following Masayoshi Hazama, a male model who wants to be like superheroes he grew up watching on TV. The series takes a page out of Kick-Ass and starts out by depicting Hazama's superhero persona, Samurai Flamenco, as something of a joke. But then the series takes a major turn, shifting from Hazama's heroics being down-to-earth and mundane to being much more fitting of the tokusatsu genre. With the introduction of ridiculous monsters, an evil organization, alien invasions, and much, much more, things become very real very fast, and they escalated far beyond what we were expecting from the anime's first chunk of episodes. But the story doesn't just simply fall into genre cliches. It still subverts its descent into the tokusatsu tropes by depicting the ridiculous villains as actual threats, but nothing compared to the final major twist of the anime, when it's revealed that Hazama's police officer friend and ally, Hidenori Goto, has been obsessed with his dead girlfriend, sending himself messages from her old phone, completely in denial about her passing. This reveal came at the hands of one of Hazama's final enemies, Haiji, a villain who wished to turn Samurai Flamenco into a dark hero. The entire final story arc added depth to the anime by exploring the darkness of humanity. Panty kills Stalking. Panty and Stalking with Garter Belt is perhaps one of the weirdest animes of all time. In a nutshell, it follows two angels that were kicked out of heaven, and its art style is akin to the 90s Cartoon Network shows. In order to return to heaven, the two angels, Panty and Stalking, must destroy evil spirits, doing so with Panty's ability to turn her underwear into a gun, and Stalking's power to turn her stockings into swords. It's a bizarre show to say the least, one that focuses on both action and comedy throughout the sisters' adventures in ghost hunting. The series reaches its major climax in the final episodes, which centers around Stalking returning returning to heaven and Panty being left behind, leading to a more dramatic storyline that concludes in an explosive final battle. However, the final episode of the series apparently is just the beginning. Though a second season has never been made, the last episode of the first season dropped a major plot twist in the post-credit scene. After the events of the final battle, Stalking suddenly cuts her sister into 666 pieces and reveals she's a demon looking to open the gates of hell. The sudden plot twist came out of nowhere, leaving us with nothing more than a sense of shock and dread and an unfulfilled to be continued. Your Name's Time Displacement. Our final entry in the list is the anime feature film Your Name, a beautiful story that both warmed and broke our hearts. The film tells the tale of Mitsuha Mayamizo and Taki Takabana, two teenagers who find themselves switching bodies whenever they wake up. Throughout this experience, they learn more and more about each other, falling in love in the process. However, one day the body switching ceases, and Takabana finds that there was a 3-year time displacement between their lives, Miyamizu perishing in a meteor crash that destroyed her town. This point in the film was a devastating plot twist that broke our hearts, shattering the interest and fun setup of the first half of the film. Taki was able to prevent the death of Mitsuha and her city with one final body switch towards the end of the film, evacuating the townsfolk before the meteor could crash with the help of Mitsuha's friends. The town is eventually saved, but an even worse heartbreak occurs. Taki and Mitsuha forgot about each other upon returning to their bodies. Boy, this film didn't let up in the second half, did it? The film ends with Taki and Mitsuha eventually meet in person, feeling as though they've met before, asking each other's names before the credits roll. Just thinking about this film, twists and turns, is getting us all teary-eyed. No, it's just dusty in here. Allergies, okay? Those were just some of the biggest anime plot twists. Did they hit you as hard as they did us? Which one was the most devastating? Did we miss any of our favorites? Let us know in the comment section below, and don't forget to subscribe for more anime videos from CBR. Thanks for watching.